name is Lizette and I am the Nutrition Ed Program Coordinator at Fresh Approach. This video is brought to you by Fresh Approach in partnership with Leah's Pantry and the San Mateo County Office of Sustainability. Our demo today is going to be focused on food waste. Do you ever feel bad for having to throw away any produce that's going bad in your fridge? How can you stretch your produce to get the most out of it while helping you also stretch your dollars? Today we're going to be making a frittata, which is a great way to use up all the produce that you have in your fridge before it goes bad. So for our frittata today, I have a total of 6 eggs, half a cup of milk, 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese, some cherry tomatoes, 5 white mushrooms. This is an onion that I had left over in my fridge, so I'm just going to use whatever I have. 2 heads of broccoli. These are kind of small. We're also going to be using the stems, and some chard, as well as using the stems from the chard. So my veggies are all washed. Now we're going to get started on cutting them up. So we're going to start off with our onion. And I'm just going to take off the skin and we're going to dice up our onion. Like so, and we're going to set this to the side. A great tip is if you have the belly button of your onion left over, don't throw it away. You can simply cut it and you can use it whenever you make a soup, whenever you cook your canned beans or your lentils. It's a great source of flavor. We want to save as much as possible. We're also going to go ahead and cut the stems from our broccoli. These are really good and will add a great, nice texture to your frittata. We're going to start off by dicing these, and you can cut these any size you want. It's really a preference. I like to do about 1/4 inch dice, so kind of small. And since we're going to saute them at the same time as our onions, I'm just going to go ahead and mix them in with our onions right here. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other stem. Just dice it up. And this is all preference. You can use any veggies that you have in your fridge. You can even use beans. You can add potatoes. Anything you have in your pantry will just be great. The point of this recipe is to use up as much of the produce that you have in your fridge. I'm also going to go ahead and add in the stems from the chard, and I'm just going to dice these up. And these are going to go in at the same time as the onions and the broccoli stem, which is why I don't mind mixing them up. However, the greens do cook a lot faster and they wilt down exactly like spinach, so we'll want to add these in last. So I am going to cut these up, but we're going to put them to the side. And you can cut this to any size you like. This is all just preference for this recipe. This is a great lunch, dinner, or breakfast. So we're going to set that to the side. Gonna go ahead and cut up our mushrooms, and same thing, I'm gonna use the stems from the mushrooms, and we're just gonna give these a dice. If you like your mushrooms a little bit bigger, you can go ahead and slice them. If you like them really tiny, you can go ahead and mince them. In the meantime, I just wanted to mention, I also have my oven. It's gonna be preheated at 400 degrees, so it's warming up while we're cutting up all of our veggies. Also, if you are lactose intolerant and don't want to use milk, please feel free to use any dairy-free option that you would like to add. You can even use water. It's just some kind of liquid to dilute the eggs. Doesn't necessarily have to be milk, almond milk, cashew milk, but I mean, the options are endless. It's also totally up to you. So I've set all of the other veggies to the side on separate bowls. I'm also going to be adding some cherry tomatoes. I'm just going to cut these in half, and I'm going to add these right at the end on top of the frittata, just so they get a little bit roasted. However, if you don't like cooked tomatoes, I know it's all preference, then you can definitely add these when your frittata comes out the oven, just right on top to add some beautiful freshness. You can also add any herbs if you have parsley, basil, mint. Just get creative with it. Have fun and make it your own, most importantly. I'm going to go ahead and cut up our broccoli heads. I don't want the chunks too big, but we also don't want them too small where they will overcook. I think about this size is good. And I did leave a little bit of the stem on them just because that's how I like it. But again, this is all preference. So whatever you like. Go ahead and chop this one up. And we're gonna do the same with this head. And it kind of already breaks itself down into little florets. But we're just gonna help it a little by giving it a nice chop. This is some extra stem. So with this stem, I'm gonna dice it up, and we're also gonna cook it down. And all of that's gonna go into that bowl. And like I said, we're not wasting anything because we really wanna stretch our produce and also stretch our dollars. So we don't wanna waste anything from these veggies. I'm gonna go ahead and add it into the bowl with the chard and the onions because it's all gonna get cooked down together at the same time. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and crack in all of our eggs into the bowl. If you get a little shell, fear not, you can just go ahead and pull it right out, no problem. So I'm using 6 eggs. I would say this frittata is probably enough for like 4 people. So 6 eggs. And like I said, if you get a little shell, no worry, just pull it right out. Like so. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add our 1/2 cup of milk or your dairy-free option, whichever you would like. I have a 1/4 teaspoon here. I'm gonna go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then we're gonna go ahead and mix our eggs to incorporate some air and make this frittata nice and fluffy. Now, you have your eggshells here. As you notice, I'm probably not gonna throw these away. You can add these eggshells into your compost. If you have a homemade compost, just go ahead and rinse them out. You can definitely incorporate them into your compost. And now I'm gonna give it a stronger whisk and just really incorporate nice air in there. Okay, so I'm heating up my skillet. I'm using a cast iron skillet, and I'm gonna be adding in some avocado oil. This is just the oil that I like to use, but if you have canola oil at home, sunflower seed oil, peanut oil, sesame oil, feel free to use whatever kind of oil you have at home. That's about 1 teaspoon of oil that I've added in there. So we're gonna wait for this to get nice and hot. So our skillet's pretty hot now. I'm gonna go ahead and add in our onions, the broccoli stems, and the chard stems, everything that we've mixed up. And the reason why I'm adding the chard stems, the broccoli stems, and the onions at the same time is because they're gonna pretty much cook evenly at the same time. It won't take very long. For example, like the chard will cook very quick like spinach, so we're not gonna add it in just yet. We're just gonna let this cook down a little bit. Our onions have cooked down a bit and they're starting to become translucent and really just releasing that oniony flavor. This is a good time. I'm gonna go ahead and add in our chopped mushrooms. We're just gonna cook these down a bit. You also don't want to overcook the vegetables at this point because this is still going to go in the oven. And I don't know, I like a little bit of texture to my veggies. Okay, mushrooms have cooked down just a bit. Now's a good time to add in our broccoli. This frittata is going to be so packed with vitamins, nutrients, so many veggies in here. It's a great way to get your veggies in. Okay, and broccoli does cook pretty quick, and since I'm still gonna put this in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the chard now. This will wilt down just like spinach. If you have spinach, go ahead and use that. And you'll start to see this wilt down quickly right now. This is looking really good. Our veggies are getting nice and cooked. The chard has wilted down a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten it out just a little before we pour in our eggs. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and beat my eggs a little bit more just to incorporate some more air right before we add it in, just to achieve that nice fluffiness. So you just wanna pour that all in there, like so. I'm gonna be topping this with some Parmesan cheese. If you are lactose intolerant, then you don't have to use cheese. You can skip this step. You can also use cheddar cheese, mozzarella cheese, manchego, any kind of cheese you'd like. And now I'm gonna go ahead and top this with the cherry tomatoes that we cut up and just spread them out. Move that one over a bit. Beautiful. So I've gone ahead and I've turned down the stove just to like a medium low. So you're gonna start seeing the edges kind of cook up a bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and insert the spatula just to see how that's coming along. Let's see. So I don't know if you can see right over here how that egg is starting to cook up along the sides. This is perfect. So I'm gonna say I'd leave it here for like another 2 minutes just before sticking it into the oven. And remember, our oven is preheated at 400 degrees. This is looking beautiful. And at this stage, my edges are starting to cook up really nice. It's time for it to go inside of the oven. If you don't have an oven, I might add that you can definitely make this on the stovetop. You'll just want to turn it down a little bit lower. So right now it's at medium low. I would say turn it down a little bit lower than this and cover it to ensure the egg cooks all the way through. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the stove. I'm gonna grab it. And a handle, and careful because it's really hot, so I'm using a rubber handle. I'm gonna go ahead and stick it into my preheated oven at 400 degrees, and I would say about 15 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and check on it. So I just wanted to give a quick mini lesson about food waste and how we can reduce the waste. So it's really important to think about the items that we buy at the grocery store and how we can make the most of them. We just made a frittata that had broccoli, and we used the stems from the broccoli. We just had chard that had stems, and we used everything up from the chard as well. So for example, when you buy broccoli at the grocery store, it's gonna be the head of broccoli and then the stems. And that broccoli sometimes comes in a bag. I prefer to buy the broccoli that does not come in a bag, because why do we need the bag? You're just gonna take it out the bag and throw the bag away anyways, right? However, if the only option that you can find for broccoli is in the bag, then please save the bag and reuse it. You can reuse it for your sandwiches, for snacks, instead of buying the Ziploc bags that you're gonna toss away. These are just some helpful tips to help you be mindful of reducing food waste and helping our environment, and also stretching your dollars. Another great tip is if you do have produce that's gone bad and it's not salvageable to the point where you can make a frittata, then you can compost that produce instead of throwing it away in the trash. You can throw it away in your city's compost, or if you have your own at-home compost, then that's also a great option for you to get rid of that produce. So it's been 15 minutes. Our frittata looks beautiful, nice and golden brown around the edges and cooked all the way through. So we're gonna go ahead and set it down to cool off for a bit right here before serving it. I cannot contain myself. I know I told you to wait until it cooled down, but I'm just dying to see what this looks like on the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a piece out, just a small piece. Like so. Just gonna stick it out. Oh my gosh, it is steaming through, but look at how beautiful. Broccoli, the chard, those mushrooms, the cheese, and the cherry tomato. We would like to thank you all for watching this video and really hope that it was helpful. Please make sure to comment down what other videos you would like to see from us in the future.